Hello, this is Brad Wild, and something a little different today. I just acquired the Carenado Pilatus PC-12. I wanted a fast single engine, and I've got it. So this is, of course, beautifully modeled by Carenado, like all their aircraft. But and this is using the executive seating option. So if we pop in, oops, I've already got some views set. I like to look out the window when I'm landing, but anyway, very comfortable seating. Huge cargo door, by the way. So let me go ahead and close things up. And I've turned off the reflections. You can see it makes a difference. I'm not sure if it's gonna, if my frame rates really take a hit or not. Well, let's leave it on for right now. I do have the shadows on, but I'll probably turn that off if my frame rates dip too much, because I'm also running SkyMax Pro 3, but those shadows are kind of nice, I have to admit. But this aircraft doesn't seem to take a big hit on frame rates, so I'm happy about that. So let's just close this up, and we'll do a cold and dark start. It's a very simple airplane to get started. Oh, a little flight planning before we get too far. I've been challenged by my friend Steve to fly from Portland, Oregon, down to an airport called Rogue Valley, which is Kilo Mike Foxtrot Romeo. And because I want to program this into my Garmin 500, I'm going to pull up the low route chart here and use that to plot something that I can put into Explain Tools and convert over. So here we have Portland, and we'll head down to a waypoint here called Ending. Add that to our plan. And then we'll head over to this VOR at Eugene using this airway. Looks like Victor 448. And then you'll see that it's already plotted it for us on this Victor 23121 airway down to this VOR at Medford. So I might just add that. Whoops, the Medford is the ADF, sorry. The VOR is actually Rogue Valley, or Oscar Echo Delta. So you can see that it's put it in here, but I want the nav log for that, which gives me all the waypoints and locations. Now copy that to my clipboard and then head over to Explain Tools. And this is going to be KPDX to KM. So paste that in there. You can see waypoints at the top, coordinates at the bottom, sky vector, explain output, and we'll go ahead and convert that. And so I want to copy this, so I'm going to right click and go down to Save link as, and it goes into my X-plane. Down to output and into FMS plans. You can see that it copied. And now we head back to the airplane. And time to get this thing started. So like most airplanes, start with the batteries. I do have a short checklist. Again, it's a very simple airplane to get rolling. So battery switch is on. And for some reason, they have us put in 15 degrees of flaps, or 1 notch of flaps. I do like the sound effects there. And then the beacon on. Should have done this while I was down here. There's an oxygen lever that needs to be flipped up. This is a pressurized airplane. Sorry for all the jumping around. So fuel pumps on. Ignition on. And then we can go ahead and click the starter. And once this here gets to 13, we can go ahead and push the condition lever up to ground idle, which supplies fuel. And we see our prop starting to spin. This should be on our EPS. So I'm watching the RPM here, and it looks like it's about stable. So we can go ahead and flip on our generators. And inverter on. We can turn on our avionics.
Portland Intel Information Foxtrot 0100 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 5,000 scattered. Temperature 14.
Turn that guy off. I wanted to say I should be seeing readings here because the generator's on, the lights are off. Maybe I could try resetting. Nope, don't see anything there. These switches are all where they should be. So right now we don't have any amperage according to that. And if we look at our cause panel, it shows Gen 1 and Gen 2 off. Now if we just add a little fuel here, or a little throttle, there we go. That's come up. The light is off, but this is still on. And there is a thread in the forums, X-Plane forums, about these lights staying on. So I'm not really sure what the deal is on that. I think it's a bug, actually. So we've got our avionics on, and we can go ahead and program our, see if these will stay off here. Oh, we could probably use some panel lights too. Whoops. By the way, these don't work. In other words, I think these are rheostats that would adjust the brightness, but they don't seem to work. And you can see what I mean by the reflections. Actually, I like these off. It's nice to be able to control nature, isn't it? Alright, let's see if we can't load this up. And that's KPDX, whoops. There it is. And we'll enter and just check, and there they are. Now I don't need this first one. I don't actually need the airport. So I will select it and clear it. Yes. But I need to make this direct now. Activate and reset. Take a look at our map. Well, everything is behind us, so we'll see that come into view once we get out the ground and head south. So we are ready to taxi, and I won't bore you with that. So once we get to the end of the runway, I'll chime back in. So we are at the end of runway 10 right at Portland. Nice sound of the turbojet. Doesn't sound quite the same inside. So we are ready to depart. We can get our lights on here. Still no amperage here. We check our CAWS, this panel here, still showing it off. And we're going to dial in 15,000 feet. It is mountainous. And we'll arm that once we're off the ground. So we've been cleared. Centered on the runway here. Just want to double check. Go ahead and get this ready with our GPS. You can see our route here. All right, let's roll. So we have a torque. I'm trying to watch the torque here. It goes up into the red. I'm not sure that's right. Anyway, get back on the center. And we can go ahead and rotate. Gear up. So I pulled back on the throttle and then it came back up on its own. So anyway, flaps up. And we can begin our automated navigation. Turn on our autopilot, yaw damper, nav, arm our altitude, and click the up button for our climb. They suggest about 120 knots for that climb. So it's about 2,000 feet a minute. So I'm just going to leave this here. We seem to be doing just fine. And we're about ready to intercept our route. And let's see if, let's make sure we're, yep, this is set. Sometimes I get a little nervous and I check it again, but that seemed to make a difference. Now there's some conflicting reports about this, but we can go ahead and put that up to flight idle. Maybe that should have come on before we took off. Maybe somebody can clarify. No indication on the official checklist. Boy, we seem to be doing a lot better now for our climb. Let's see what's showing up here. Well, a couple of them have gone off, but we still are not showing any amperage here. So I think that's a bug. If I check equipment failures, it looks like everything is working. So I think that's just a problem with the Carenado version. Portland behind us. Oops, wrong one. So we seem to be right on track here. Ground speed of 152 and estimated to our first waypoint of ending at 13 minutes and change. So I'll get back with you as we get a little bit closer to our top of climb. So we just got an audible notification that we're approaching our cruise altitude, So we're about 120 still, and we're still climbing like a bat out of hell. But here the nose comes, starting to level off, and our performance chart has us set the torque at 36 for cruise for this flight level. Take a look out the window here. Out over the nose. Sounds like a mosquito, but not sure how accurate that is, but I doubt you're ever in that position where you can listen to the engine on the outside. At least I hope not. Take a look at our route, and we're approaching our first waypoint. That was our performance chart. So we're in this area right here, heading towards ending. Oops. We'll make a slight turn towards the west as we follow this low altitude chart. Looking at the VFR chart, the sectional, not much in the way of things to look out the window at, but things will get a little bit more interesting over Eugene. Maybe we'll take a look then. So right now our ground speed is 256. So we're hauling right along here. Probably the reason that we're doing so well performance-wise is that there's nobody in the back. It'd be kind of cool if you could opt to have people sitting back there. Alright, back in a little bit. So we are turning over ending. Back to our low altitude, so we're headed down Victor 448. And I did notice that our panel here has cleaned itself up, no red or yellow, and we've got amperage on our second generator. So I don't know what happened, but it self-righted itself, and we'll just leave well enough alone. While we're cruising along here, I wanted to just show the second Garmin here. It's got an old flight plan in it from some other route that I took, but I've set the VOR to 115.4 because we do have a VOR situated just to the west of us. We're right about here right now. So that then gets reflected on our VOR down in the corner. This is the old style. When I learned to fly, this is what we used. So this is just showing that we are east on a bearing of 80, and you can see it moving across as we fly past it, and then this will point to it. Other than that, I can't figure out a second use for this because you can't direct whether it goes to this or the other one. So, just a little side light there. Pulled up X airports, and let's see, I like the shaded relief. Get a little bit of the landscape here, and here's Interstate 5 coming up from Eugene down here. I don't know much about Oregon, never been there. So I like to keep that over on my second monitor. See if there's anything interesting out the window. Not really. We do have mountains, of course, over to the east. But right now, as they say in NASA, when nothing blows up, we have a nominal flight. So we've got Eugene ahead of us, right under the nose. And you can see the turn that we're going to make. Head back east a little bit. We are just northwest of Eugene. And notice it's indicating we're going to turn in just a few seconds. And there we go. So if we take a look at our route, we are just south now, and our next waypoint is Sagan. We do need to think a little bit about our descent. And we can do that here. Need to check our approach plate first. We'll come back in a few minutes and do that. So now that we are past Sagan, we are just under 90 miles out, and we should probably think a little bit about our descent. Things will happen fast in this aircraft. Let's take a look at our approach. So one main runway here. I'm not quite sure what this little one is all about. And let's see what we have in the way of an ILS. So we'll be coming in from the north-northwest, and we'll be given some waypoints, I'm sure, when we go to select our approach. So we need to be at 7,000 at Samey, and it looks like we'd be intercepting our guide slope for sure at Osage, 3,800 feet. Let's see what the Garmin shows us for our approach. Select an approach. Well, they don't have one. It just says vectors. So we're going to have to wing it, so to speak. Better take another look at this. So why don't we try to be at 7,000 here at Samey? That's just 7 miles out. We'll probably be picking up a localizer then, so we can put that into our VNav here. So target altitude, whoops, of 7,000. Zero miles before, and it's not going to give us one. We'll have to put it in here. Well, it's not even going to do that. So maybe we need to put in our own waypoint here. So here's our VOR, and we'd be quite a ways out. So the question here's broken, and I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that, and I'm not sure where it is in relationship to this, but why don't we just stick it in here somewhere. And Samey, right? Always a pain to do this. Wish you could just type it in. And so we'll go ahead and enter that. We'll accept it. And we can probably just delete that one. Probably delete this. It looks like Samey's actually going to be before that. Not sure if it's going to show us that on the map. Whoops. Need to get back to our map. Hold this down for 5 seconds. There we go. It looks like we just make a little bit of a jaunt, so we could probably eliminate everything after morn. way we'll have a little bit more direct route. So now we can hopefully get our VNav in here. See me. And oh, let's shoot for 1500 feet per minute. So you can see that this number is rising, and when it gets to 1500, we'll begin our descent. So it's saying about 5 minutes. So we just need to keep an eye on that. But I can go ahead and dial in the 7000 here. So that we're all set to go. That's close enough. And before we do that, just here's our X airports. We are over some mountains, and here you can see 5 winding up north. Take a peek out the window. Not much in that direction. Mountains just off in the distance. Close this here. Not sure if you can see 5. No. Alright, so we'll get back together when we get a little bit closer to our top descent. Alright, it says descend to target here. It just said 1 minute to go, and then it switches to this, and you can see our number rapidly approaching 1500, and that's at the point where you really want to begin your descent. But by the time we get things going here, so we'll push the nose down, we'll arm our altitude and look for 1500 feet a minute. We can come back on our power. And we can watch this number. If it is below 1500, then we're a little bit early on our descent. So let's just keep an eye on that as we go. Of course, the faster your ground speed, the faster you will get to your destination. So you can see that the number is climbing again, so we're dropping a little fast. We must be turning over morning. Pull the nose up just a little bit, and you have to give it a second to settle. But the point is, we want to be at 7,000 feet when we get to Sammy. So our ground speed here, 254. It's about what our cruise was. And just take a look at our map. We took a little bit of a turn here from Morn, and we're going to be picking up our waypoints here for our approach. Do you want to make a note of this? 110.3 for our localizer frequency. Zoom in a little bit here. So 2 minutes. We should be pretty close to 7,000. What did I say? 10.3? Is that what? Yep, 10.3. So that's already dialed in here. And I'll eventually want to switch over to VLOC. Right now we're still GPS. So 2 minutes to go, and we are descending at about 1,500 feet a minute, so I think we're going to be pretty close to where we want to be. After that, see, that's 3 miles, so we want to keep descending at a pretty good clip. Come back on our power a little bit. Begin to slow things down. Into the clouds. SkyMax really does a nice job, and there's a new version coming out, SkyMax 4. So it looks like we're going to be right on target with our descent. Might even be slightly early. And then we'll be turning. I want to start looking for my localizer. We can continue our descent on down. But probably don't have to be quite as radical. And we're going to be turning in just a second. And our runway is 14. So this is keyed up. We got our localizer here, so I'm going to go ahead and change this to VLOC and approach. Here's our guide slope. Back on the power. Looks like we still have 16 miles, so no need to lower the gear or anything So it looks like we're just about ready to capture our guide slope. So this is nestled right in the middle of some mountains. All right, back with you. 4,000 feet, localizer guide slope. Speed is coming down. Probably can put some flaps in. Get our landing lights on. Taxi just in case. Watching that speed. So we've got 30 degrees of flaps. We can hang on just a second. By the way, this does pop up, which is kind of nice. All right, let's concentrate here. So our condition lever is still flight idle. Notice our settings here, torque at 16, NG at 77. Our PAPI lights are showing equally red and green, white. Kind of a pretty area. Clouds have kind of cleared up. Whoops, I take that back. I don't know what my cloud settings are, but they must be set pretty low. Not sure what highway that is. And our final notch of flaps. You can see it here at 40%. Just want to watch that speed. So 90 knots. Localizer and guide slope look good. Speed looks good. Gear down, full flaps. Now I just have to get this thing on the ground. And we do have some nice scenery. Thank you, Steve, for sending that over. think we touched down about, I think it was 79 knots. But we could probably kill the autopilot. And these turbojets, you just fly them right down to the ground. Well, I wanted to be in the center of the runway. Love the sound of that reverse. I'm not sure what those warnings are about. Clean up the airplane here. I do like the flap sounds on this. Alright, well, the landing wasn't all that exciting. Neither was my rollout. And yeah, now the condition lever needs to come back. I think that's my problem. Down to idle, there we go. Yeah, all of our warnings are back now. So where are the PC-12 pilots when we need them? I guess I need to come to a better understanding of what that condition lever is all about. And I don't know why we have that crazy beeping sound. Does anybody know what that's about? I wonder if it's related to all those yellow lights. Wow, there's some big airplanes here. You just wonder. Looks like general aviation over here. Looks like Alaska Airlines flies in here. Well, let's just stop here. How's that? And we can just cut our fuel now. Generator off. And probably turn off the lights too. We don't need all that. I just want to open the doors. It's too cool. Zoom in here. There we go. I think there's some cool lighting too. We can turn on cabin lights here. which you can see from the outside. So it looks awesome. Alright, Breadwild signing off. We got the initial flight under our belt. If you have any questions or comments, I'm all ears. Till next time.